Have you ever stopped to consider the sheer wonder of the object sitting inside your skull? The human brain, a 3-pound universe of tissue and electricity, is arguably the most complex and sophisticated object we have yet discovered in the cosmos. It is the engine of consciousness, the architect of our thoughts, the curator of our memories, the maestro conducting the symphony of our bodies. It allows us to gaze at the stars and to question our place among them. For centuries, we have been fascinated by this astonishing machine. It's a quest that has led us down remarkable paths, including the creation of another kind of thinking machine, the digital computer. This essay embarks on a journey to explore parallels between these two information processing systems. On the surface, they seem worlds apart. 1. A product of billions of years of evolution, wet, warm, alive. 2. Human-made, silicon, metal, precise and logical. But as we look closer, we find surprising and profound similarities in their fundamental principles. We will peel back the layers, comparing biological components to electronic parts. The comparison helps demystify both systems. The computer's logic gives intuition for the brain. The brain's efficiency inspires new machines. We will dive into neurons and transistors, memory and storage, and the command centers where processing happens. It's a story of how we tried to build a mind in our image. Yes, let's carry on. The idea of creating an artificial mind is not a new one. It is a dream that has captivated thinkers for centuries. Long before the first vacuum tube flickered to life, philosophers and scientists looked to the human brain. They saw it as a complex system of interconnected parts, a biological engine of logic and reason. Leibniz envisioned calculating machines. Early calculators were forerunners to computation. This intellectual lineage shows the computer grew from a desire to mechanize thought. In the 20th century, the link became tangible. Alan Turing, John von Neumann, they compared neuron firing to binary electronic switches. Brain networks inspired circuit design. Simple interconnected units can yield complex behavior. Complexity from simplicity underpins the digital world. What does the brain actually do? At its core, an information processor. It receives data through our senses: light, sound, pressure, chemicals. It processes input. It identifies patterns. It links to past experiences stored in memory. It generates output: muscle movement, complex thought, emotional response. It learns, it adapts, and makes predictions. These functions, input, processing, storage, and output, became core components in modern computer architecture. We see a simplified reflection of cognition in computers. A computer takes input from a keyboard and a camera. It processes data on a CPU. It stores information on a hard drive. It outputs to a screen and to speakers. The functional flowchart is strikingly similar. Biological wetware versus digital hardware. Same purpose: manipulate information. Building computers was a path to a predictable, controllable, specialized brain. Right. That's the thread we'll follow. The fundamental unit of the brain is a specialized cell called the neuron. There are approximately 86 billion of them in the average human brain, a number so vast it approaches the number of stars in our galaxy. Each neuron acts as a tiny biological switch and signal processor, receiving, integrating, and firing an action potential down its axon. The digital counterpart to the neuron is the transistor. A transistor can act as an amplifier or, more importantly for computing, a switch. With a small voltage at a gate, it controls a larger current, letting it represent binary states: on, a 1, off, a 0. Modern processors contain billions of these tiny switches on a silicon chip. Just like neurons, these transistors are the elemental building blocks of complex computer functions. Both derive their power from being part of a massive, interconnected network. A single neuron firing is meaningless. A single transistor switching is equally insignificant. But when you connect billions of them together, incredible things become possible. In the brain, neurons form circuits that can recognize a face, recall a memory, or compose music. In a computer, transistors make logic gates, then microprocessors that run software, render 3D graphics, or communicate across the globe. However, differences are profound. Neurons are living cells using electricity and chemistry, signaling via neurotransmitters across synapses. This process is analog, messy, and plastic. Connection strengths change, the basis of learning. Transistors are purely electrical and digital. Their state is on or off, fast and reliable, but not inherently adaptive. The brain's ability to store and retrieve information is what we call memory, and it is a wonderfully complex and multifaceted system. It isn't a single hard drive in your head. Neuroscientists have identified different types of memory. Short-term memory, working memory. It lets you hold a phone number just long enough to dial it, a temporary, fragile scratch pad. Then there's long-term memory, the vast archive of your life. Declarative memory, facts and events, like the capital of France or what you had for breakfast. Procedural memory, skills like riding a bicycle or playing the piano. Computers also have a tiered memory system. The equivalent of working memory is random access memory, RAM, volatile, high-speed storage used by the CPU. Open a program or file, it loads into RAM for quick access. Power off, and it's gone. For long-term storage, computers use HDDs or SSDs, where files, applications, and the operating system persist when power is off. Computers store information as bits, ones and zeros, as magnetic states or electrical charges, at precise addresses. A file is either there or it isn't. The brain stores memories in a distributed, associative way, encoded in patterns of synaptic connections across millions of neurons. Recall reactivates the pattern. One memory can trigger another, like the smell of baking bread evoking your grandmother's kitchen. Computers can store Wikipedia with perfect fidelity. Our memories can fade, warp, and distort. But the brain's network gives context and meaning, linking facts, emotions, and experiences. Every recall rebuilds memory, slightly strengthening or altering synapses, synaptic plasticity, making memory living and dynamic, unlike static data on a drive. At the heart of every modern computer lies its central processing unit, the engine of logic that executes program instructions. It follows a relentless cycle. Fetch an instruction from memory, decode it, execute it, then move on. Billions of cycles per second. Modern multi-core CPUs can run several streams at once, yet remain fundamentally sequential and rule-based. The ultimate bureaucrat. Fast, accurate, without understanding. The brain's closest analog is the cerebral cortex, the wrinkled outer layer, seat of higher-order thinking, language, planning, and conscious awareness. Unlike a CPU, the cortex is massively parallel, with regions specialized for seeing, hearing, and decision-making, all sharing information in concert. The brain doesn't run one program at a time. It runs the single, incredibly complex program of you. This architectural difference, parallel versus sequential, is fundamental. A CPU is a master of serial tasks, computing step by step, millions of times faster than any human. The brain excels at parallel processing. In a blink, it processes a dog's shape, color, movement, bark, and the memory of your childhood pet. This enables real-time sense-making in a messy world, still hard for even the most powerful supercomputers. Computing is adapting. GPUs and AI chips with thousands of simpler cores emulate the brain's parallel approach. Section 6. The Art of Learning. Plasticity and algorithms. One of the most profound capabilities of the human brain is its ability to learn, from recognizing a mother's face, to speaking, to mastering new skills. Learning carves new pathways and strengthens existing ones. Practice reinforces circuits. The brain rewires to get better. Computers learn through algorithms. Machine learning, inspired by the brain, uses artificial neural networks, layers of interconnected nodes that process information. Trained on labeled images, the network guesses. If wrong, an algorithm adjusts connection weights, nudging toward the correct answer. It's a mathematical echo of synaptic plasticity. Pioneers sought systems that learn from data without explicit rules, powering today's voice assistants and medical tools. Human learning is rich, multisensory, contextual. We can learn from a single example and improvise. One-shot learning. Machine learning often needs immense data and compute, brilliant at patterns within training data but lacking genuine understanding. It doesn't know a cat as a human does, only pixel statistics. The brain's learning is efficient and flexible. The computer's is brute force and specific. Section 7. A window to the world. Sensory input and I/O devices. The brain does not exist in a vacuum. It is constantly fed a rich, complex stream of information through our senses. Eyes are biological cameras. Ears are sophisticated microphones. Skin is a vast sensor network. Nose and tongue detect chemicals, smell and taste. Raw sensory data is messy and noisy. The brain filters, fills gaps, and constructs a coherent model of reality. Computers use input-output devices, cameras, microphones, keyboards, touchscreens, converting light, sound, and pressure into digital ones and zeros for the CPU. Monitors and speakers convert signals back for us. Both systems must turn raw input into useful information. The brain can pick out a single voice in a noisy room. The cocktail party problem, still hard for machines. The brain uses context and expectation, reading smudged text by guessing from surrounding words, constantly predicting and updating. Computers approach this with specialized algorithms, denoising audio, sharpening images, correcting transmission errors. The brain integrates multiple senses at once, seeing, hearing, feeling a glass smash. A multimodal mastery technology still strives to match. Section 8. The power of mind, energy efficiency and resilience. The adult human brain runs on about 20 watts, less than a dim light bulb, yet performs image recognition, language, and motor control all at once. By contrast, simulating the brain on a supercomputer can consume megawatts, enough to power a small town. Efficiency stems from architecture. Unlike clocked CPUs, the brain is asynchronous. Neurons fire only when signaling, saving energy. Engineers are developing neuromorphic chips, artificial neurons and synapses that consume power only when active. Resilience differs. A computer is brittle. A few failed transistors or a corrupted file can render systems useless. We rely on backups and redundancy. The brain stores information across vast networks. The loss of many neurons has little effect, as circuits absorb damage and rewire. After injury, the brain can reorganize. Though diseases like Alzheimer's cause devastating, irreversible damage, computers can swap parts, but lack the brain's innate self-repair. Learning from biology, we aim for efficient, resilient machines. Section 9. A universe of difference, the future of brain and machine. We have seen striking similarities. Both systems process information, store it, and act upon it. The neuron inspired the transistor. Working memory inspired RAM. The brain's learning inspired AI algorithms. The analogy gives us a foothold on mind's complexity, but differences are just as important. The brain is messy, analog, emotional, creative, slow at the component level but massively parallel, operating on meaning and context, shaped by evolution. It is alive. A computer is precise, digital, logical, unfeeling, incredibly fast yet largely sequential, excelling at calculation and data manipulation. It is a tool. The brain writes poetry. The computer calculates planetary orbits. Both are intelligences, not the same kind. This is not a competition. Their differences make the partnership powerful. We are not being replaced by computers. We are being augmented, using flawless memory and lightning-fast calculation to extend our minds. We provide creativity, ethical judgment, common sense, and purpose. Human intuition and machine analysis are pushing the boundaries of science, art, and medicine. Brain study will inspire efficient, flexible, even creative machines.